Hello everyone, happy Friday to all of you. I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you've been enjoying our coverage of F1 2021 here on the Traxion channel. And today I've got something just a little bit different for you. We're going to have a look at the photo mode in F1 2021. Also, over the last several years I've been working in YouTube, I have made hundreds, and I mean hundreds and hundreds of thumbnails. And since we've got this whole week of F1 content to do, I'm going to make all the thumbnails that you've seen over the course of this week all in one go. And I'm going to do it natively in F1 2021 and technically 2020's photo modes, with a bit of Photoshop in there as well, which I'll show you, which I'll get to. Now, F1 2021's photo mode isn't exactly anything new. It's basically the same as F1 2020, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it, because this is a really, really good photo mode. And also, I wanted to show you guys actually a little sort of insight as to how we make videos here at Traxion. I say how we make videos, it's how I make thumbnails, but you get the idea. Anyway, let's kick things off with our sound and graphics comparison video between F1 2020 and F1 2021. So to kick things off, we're actually going to go back to F1 2020. So here we are at Paul Ricard in a Renault, which is bright yellow, because next year, I say next year, the year after this, they became Alpine and the car turned blue, so that will be a really good differentiation between years visually for this thumbnail. We could have used Racing Point to Aston Martin, but I decided to go for yellow and blue because they're quite bright colours. The new Aston Martin is beautiful, but that sort of British racing green doesn't pop as well for a YouTube thumbnail. So let's stick to the Renault here. So I'm having a play with whereabouts I could put the camera, hoping there were some presets I could use, but I discovered if you put it into near chase, I'm playing with free camera right now like a moron, but we put it into near chase, there's a little sort of dead zone on the thumbstick where it'll snap perfectly to one side of the car. So that is where we're going to get our screenshots or our photo here on the pit straight at Paul Ricard. Bring the shutter speed down, the aperture up to get a nice blurry background, both for depth of field and motion blur. And then if we flick over to F1 2021, same track, same time, well, not same time, same team, well, now Alpine instead, in a blue car instead of yellow. I'm going to go back onto the pit straight and basically recreate what we did before by going through the pause menu instead of hitting the flashback button, because I'm an idiot and couldn't remember which button it was. So now I know what I'm doing, I can just get back to the pit straight and go straight into the near chase camera, and then once again hit that dead zone on the side, bring the shutter speed down, the aperture up, get the same screenshots, and then we're going to quickly go to Photoshop, and I'm going to show you a quick look at how I actually did it. So we're going to basically paint the front of the Renault onto the Alpine. The rest of the image is all the Alpine image. I'm just pasting over the front half of this car, the yellow Renault, and going around all the edges to make it look like it's actually there. And rather than doing like a big sort of white line across the center or just doing two shots from the far chase cam or something, let's do something a bit more artistic. Let's do something a bit more fun. So we're going to add a nice little glow into the center, a couple of lens flares across the two cars, just to make it look that little bit flashier. Quite literally, lens flares are actually great in YouTube thumbnails. I use them quite a lot because they really do draw your eye. Add a bit of fake motion blur over the top, and also add 2020 and 2021. And annoyingly, there's not much Photoshop in this video because it didn't like being recorded and would randomly stop the recording partway through. And yeah, that's where it died. But there's the thumbnail in full with a slightly different background to really differentiate the 2 years. So on to the video that came after the review. That was our beginner's tips and tricks, and I wanted to get this Ferrari at Spa with this DRS wing open, just driving straight off turn one there, straight into the barrier, but what the hey. Back into flashback, boom, DRS is on, the wing is open. We're going to have a play now with the framing and also with the sun. You can move the sun in the photo mode, which is also really fun. And as much as you can have some really nice artistic lighting here, for a thumbnail, it's not really the best. You want things to be nice and bright. Artistic lighting is gorgeous in this game. You can make it look really nice, but for a thumbnail, it doesn't work as well. So I took a couple of shots, some at the back, some at the front, of the rear wing being open, and I'm just kind of playing and working out what might look best in a video thumbnail. So I'm at the back of the car here, but I eventually do move to the front. I also move the logo down to the bottom right of the screen, because when you're in Photoshop, if you want to get rid of that F1 2021 logo, you can't hide it in the photo mode. If you put it against a very plain backdrop, so for example the asphalt of the track, you can easily use the spot remover tool to just make it disappear really nicely. If you had it over the barrier, for example, the yellow and red blocks, it may not be removed as easily, so sticking to that would be best. And there is the thumbnail in full with a nice big glowing rear wing. Okay, on to this video you're watching right now. Let's go somewhere picturesque for the photo mode. Let's go to Monaco. So we're going to get to the top of the hill here. The sun is quite low, and we're going to put it right in the face of this Mercedes. Right there. Look at that, beautiful. put it right up against the Armco. I'm going to have a play with the framing and work out what might look the best, because this is the kind of thumbnail I have complete free reign. I can just make a really cool looking image. So what should I go for? Play with the zoom as per usual, bring the shutter speed down, aperture up. I'm pretty certain I got those the right way around. I flipping hope so. Lots and lots of background blur. This photo mode is beautiful, honestly. But there it is. That's the shot I ended up using in the thumbnail. You might have recognized since you clicked on this video. And there's the thumbnail completed with lots and lots of random photographic stuff over the top to really put across that it's a photo mode. Okay, now we're going to Silverstone for our 25% race in George Russell's Williams. I'm going to go into turn 1 and drive straight into the back of Nikita Mazepin because, you know, I'm just not driving very well at the moment, but it doesn't really matter. We're doing it for photos. We're going to park his Williams between Giovinazzi and Mick Schumacher. And in fact, I took quite a few different screenshots, quite a few different photos at this point, and I ended up going with the first one for the thumbnail because I wanted to do something different. We had lots of low shots, lots of close-ups. Let's go a little bit higher. The motion blur isn't as high as it normally would be. I'm not entirely sure, it might not be. But there's the thumbnail in full, lovely big text, lots of lovely motion blur. Looks good. So sticking to Silverstone, let's get a screenshot in place for our split screen video that I did with Owsley. Now, I knew I'd be driving Lando's McLaren, but I've got him next to Pierre Gasly's AlphaTauri right here. Owsley ended up driving an Aston Martin, so, you know, not perfectly correct for what the video actually was, but we did drive at Silverstone. I did drive that McLaren, so I guess we're like, you know, 2/3, 66% of the way there with this thumbnail. So a shot from the front looking really nice, but it's not that artistically interesting for a video thumbnail. It's a nice picture, but not perfect for what we need. So we're going to move on from that one. We're going to have a play with the camera, shuffle it around, play with the time of day, and as said, you can have some artistic lighting, make it look really nice, but it doesn't work as well for a thumbnail. Things need to remain nice and bright, I guess. Not horrendously, don't oversaturate stuff too much. It does look quite different when you see the thumbnail. You can see it's a lot more punchy, the blacks are a lot darker, but that's for the sake of the thumbnail. There we go. That's more like, well, it's exactly the shot I used on the thumbnail. Zoom it in, get lots of motion blur going, and in fact, I changed the tyres on Lando's car to be mediums instead of softs, just to make it a little bit different on the eyes, which is a nifty little feature you can have in the photo mode. So there's the screenshots I used, and there is the thumbnail. And finally, we're at the Red Bull Ring. I'm driving Max Verstappen's Red Bull. We're going to go up to turn 3 at the top of the hill for this online races multiplayer thumbnail. Want lots and lots of cars in shots, so we're going to use the top of turn 3 for this. We've got both of the Red Bulls up front. We've got Perez and Verstappen together, kicking butt, as per, it seems, so far this season. And we're going to have another play with the... I pulled the zoom quite far back. It's basically the FOV slider, but they call it zoom in the photo mode. Having a play with who I might focus on. Do I put Max Verstappen's Red Bull out of focus in the foreground, or what? I wasn't entirely sure what to do. I think in the end I put it in I put it in focus. But you can see all the cars in the background, and I do move that logo down onto the blue of the runoff area again, so it's easy to remove in post. And there's the thumbnail. Lots of lens flares. Lens flares are good. I did actually cut out a lot of the footage of me playing around in photo mode, so there are a bunch of images I didn't use in these thumbnails, and just here are a couple that I did take that all looked quite nice that, you know, ended up on the cutting room floor. But it's a really nice photo mode. I really like using it, and I've loved making these thumbnails, and I've actually really enjoyed making this video. As I said, it's something quite different to what we've had on the Traxion channel so far. As said, it's not much different to F1 2020, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it, also, as said. But if I could change anything, I know that we've got the tyre swapping, which is really cool, but imagine being able to change cars. For example, this shot of Pierre Gasly and Lando Norris at Silverstone, if I could have swapped out Gasly's car for Vettel's Mercedes, which is what Owsley drove in our split screen video, that'd have been really good. But maybe we could have that next year. So that is our look at F1 2021's photo mode, and a bit of an insight as to how I made all the thumbnails this week for all the F1 content. 2 of those thumbnails you've not actually seen the videos for yet, so please do subscribe to the Traxion channel and ring the bell for notifications to not miss out on those videos. And if you like this video and want to see more stuff like this in the future, hopefully with Photoshop, playing ball and recording normally, please let me know down in the comments section below. Thank you very much for watching. Enjoy the British Grand Prix this weekend. I know I'm excited for it. Keep it pinned. I'll see you next time.